The massacre at Adebayo Hall boarding school shocked the entire country. 17 students vanished in a single night. No bodies were found. No explanation was given. Within weeks, the government ordered the school closed permanently. Police sealed the gates, the dormitories were abandoned, and the place that once held hundreds of students slowly turned into a silent ruin. But the story didn't end there. Because far away from the empty school, 3 former students could not escape what they had seen. Ada, Ton, and Musa. Even after returning to their homes, the memories followed them. At first, it started with dreams. The same dream, over and over again. Musa would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding in his chest. In his dream, he was standing once again inside the underground corridor beneath Adebayo Hall. The walls were still covered with the strange ancient symbols scratched deep into the stone. And at the end of the tunnel, he could see the stone well. Something inside it was moving. Something hungry. Then he would hear a whisper. A voice made of many voices speaking at once. Come back. Across the city, Ada was having the same nightmare. But in her dream, the well was opening wider. And pale hands were slowly climbing out of the darkness, hands that did not belong to anything human. Ton tried to ignore the dreams at first. He told himself it was just trauma. Just memories of what happened that night. But something strange began happening near the abandoned school. Farmers living nearby started complaining. At night, the ground trembled beneath their houses. Sometimes faint lights flickered inside the empty buildings. And animals refused to go anywhere near the place. One evening, Musa traveled alone to the old road that led to Adebayo Hall. He stood quietly outside the rusted iron gate, staring into the empty compound. The wind moved slowly through the broken buildings. The school looked dead. But then suddenly, the ground beneath his feet trembled. Only for a moment. But it was enough. Musa stepped back slowly. And under his breath, he whispered. The creature is still there. A few days later, the 3 friends met again for the first time since the school had been closed. None of them were smiling. None of them looked well rested. Because they had all been dreaming the same dream. The well is opening again, Ada said quietly. And the thing inside it is getting stronger. Ton looked at both of them. What if it escapes? No one answered. Because they already knew the truth. If the creature beneath the school escaped, it wouldn't stop with Adebayo Hall. Finally Musa spoke. There's only one way to stop it. Ada looked at him carefully. You mean go back? Musa nodded. We finish what Daniel started. For a long moment, none of them spoke. Then Ton sighed. If we are doing this, we do it together. And so the plan was made. They would return to the abandoned school, enter the underground corridor once more, and destroy whatever lived inside the well. But none of them realized one terrible truth. The creature beneath Adebayo Hall had been waiting. And it already knew they were coming. The road to Adebayo Hall had not been used for months. Grass had grown through the cracks in the pavement. The iron gate creaked in the wind as they pushed it open. The school looked like a ghost town. Broken windows stared like empty eyes. The classrooms were silent. The dormitories were dark. But the 3 friends knew the truth. Something beneath the school was still alive. Musa adjusted the lantern strap to his head. Once we go inside, he said quietly, there's no turning back. Ton gripped the heavy hammer he had brought. Ada held a metal container filled with oil. If the creature could be destroyed, fire would do it. They stepped into the compound. Their footsteps echoed across the empty courtyard. Inside the abandoned buildings, desks were overturned. Books were scattered across dusty floors. Doors creaked slowly in the wind. Everything looked frozen in time. Like the school had been abandoned in a single terrifying moment. Finally they reached the west dormitory. The staircase that led to the underground corridor was still there. And beneath it, the metal door waited. Rust had nearly eaten through it. But Musa didn't hesitate. He pushed the door open. Cold air rushed out from the darkness below. They turned on their lanterns and stepped into the tunnel. The corridor was darker than they remembered. Their lights barely reached the walls. The ancient symbols were still carved into the stone. The deeper they walked, the colder the air became. Soon the narrow passage opened into the underground chamber. The same massive circular room. The same scattered bones covering the ground. Hundreds of them. Some of them small. Some clearly human. And in the center of the chamber, the stone well. The place where the creature slept. For a moment, and none of them moved. Then Ada whispered, "It's here." A sound came from inside the well. Slow. Wet. Scratching against stone. Their lantern lights flickered. Then two pale eyes opened in the darkness below. Something began climbing out. Its body was thin like a skeleton. Its arms were impossibly long, dragging across the ground as it crawled forward. Its face looked almost human, but twisted into a permanent, horrifying smile. And when it spoke, the voice sounded like hundreds of voices whispering together. "You came back." The creature crawled closer. "You belong to me," Musa shouted. "Now." Ton swung the hammer with all his strength. Crack! The hammer struck the stone well. The creature shrieked. A horrible sound that echoed through the chamber. Musa grabbed the hammer and struck again. Crack! Pieces of the well began breaking apart. Black liquid poured from the cracks like thick blood. The creature lunged toward them, its long arms reaching. Ada quickly poured oil across the ground around the well. "Light it." Ton struck a lighter. The flame spread instantly. Fire exploded across the chamber floor. The creature screamed with pure rage. The ground began shaking violently. Rocks started falling from the ceiling. "Run!" Musa shouted. The three friends turned and ran back through the tunnel. Dust filled the air behind them. The creature's scream echoed through the collapsing corridor. They ran faster. Up the stairs. Through the metal door. And out into the open courtyard. Seconds later, the ground exploded beneath the west dormitory. With a thunderous roar, the building collapsed. The tunnels beneath it caved in completely. A cloud of dust rose into the night sky. For a long time, none of them spoke. They simply stared at the ruins of Adibeo Hall. Finally Ada whispered, "Is it over?" Musa watched the smoke rising from the rubble. He wanted to believe it was.